Throughout our videos, we're going to look at the role of research, of data collection and analysis and making those recommendations. Now, we get into business intelligence and data analytics. We talk about descriptive analytics, diagnostic analytics, predictive analytics, and prescriptive analytics. So descriptive, that descriptive function is to gather statements of facts, gather data to describe what is happening. The diagnostic function is to explain why something is happening. And the predictive function, of course, is going to be to predict what will happen in the future. We will also look in later videos at prescriptive analytics, which tells us what we should be doing as an organization. So here, we'll just simplistically talk about these different functions here. So with our descriptive function, we're simply going to gather and present. We have here our statements of facts. What is happening? So from a marketing research perspective, we could be looking at collecting information and finding that the average Canadian skips breakfast 3 times a week. So this is going to explain what is happening. If we are Starbucks, this might explain why we are selling more snacks, because people are skipping breakfast and so then they get hungry and need to snack more. So that descriptive function here is to explain, gather and present statements of facts, what is happening. The diagnostic function is looking at why. Why is something happening? There's a reason I type things. Why is something happening? So an explanation of why we're observing something in the data. All right, so an example of this. Well, in 1981, all the pre-orders for a laptop called the Osborne were canceled. Okay, so you're the company, you're trying to figure out why is it that no one is buying our product. It's revolutionary. We really don't have laptops out available in the early 1980s. Well, we want to explore, why did that happen? Why are we not selling what we thought would be huge? Well, it turns out the head of the company had announced that a new model was coming that had not been built yet that would outperform the existing model. And he basically made this statement right around the time that the first model was released. Well, why would you buy the first model if the head of the organization just told you, wait, there's going to be a better one and it's coming? Why waste your money? Why not wait for the second model? And so nobody bought the first. And how many of you have actually heard of an Osborne computer today? So we can use our research to help us understand why something is happening. And then we have our predictive function, our predictive analytics. And so we want to be able to forecast. We want to use that descriptive and that diagnostic. We want to forecast how successful something is going to be or how likely something is going to be in the future. So here with predictive, what is likely to happen? Okay. So if we offer a new product, is it going to be successful? What is going to be the interest rate in the future that's going to impact the operations of our organization? What is the customer base? What are the demographics going to be looking like in the future? What is going to be the need for certain types of healthcare? So what's the cancer rate, the breast cancer rate in the future? How successful will this particular treatment be in terms of increasing the health of our pine trees, right? So we want to be able to predict what is going to be happening in the future. A marketing research example here would be that in 2003, we're finding consumers were flocking to low-carb diets. And so Kraft is looking at the fact that the low-carb diet is quite successful. And so they team up with South Beach Diet to create a line of products. They're forecasting that there will be even more demand for low-carb diets in the future. And so then they're willing to invest in a new line of food products. So we can have a descriptive, diagnostic, or predictive functions, and then later on in our later videos, we'll even get to the prescriptive, using this to help us inform what we should do, not just what is likely to happen. All right. Trying to find the mouse. There we go. Okay. So what is that role of research, particularly if we're looking at marketing research? We're identifying opportunities and problems. We're helping to generate, refine, evaluate, in this case, our marketing actions. We're monitoring how well we're performing. So we're developing long-run strategies. If we take this outside of marketing research to research in general, this could be research for our organization's operations. What are the opportunities for our company? What are some of the issues that we're facing? Can we come up with a set of actions, plans, procedures that will ensure that our organization is more effective or efficient? We can then monitor how well those decisions are to see whether or not those have been the correct decisions, how accurate was our research. On the academic side, right, again, we're still looking at opportunities and challenges. We're using our research to identify what they are in more exploratory research. And then we are using our findings to recommend change, to recommend approaches to address issues. And then, of course, we want to determine how successful they are at creating change. So we're developing long-run strategies for our organizations from research, and we're also improving our processes themselves. So in terms of marketing research, it's helping us develop a marketing strategy. In terms of operational research, it can help us develop our strategic plan for the organization, and we can collect research in terms of helping us in terms of our operations and whatever our goals or endeavors are for our group that we're working on. So if we're defining marketing research, we're looking at a plan to guide the long-term use of a company. So we'll just write of a firm's resources. So if we're going to put people and money and time into things, then we need to make sure that it is the right thing that we are focusing on. So plan to guide the long-term use of a firm's resources based on existing and projected internal capabilities. So what is it we can actually do? And on projected changes in the external environment. Because again, research is about understanding how those external factors impact the decisions of your organization or group. So we're using this, we're going to recognize a issue, a problem, a challenge. We're going to convert that into a research project. And then we're going to collect data, analyze the data, make recommendations for change, make recommendations for strategy. We're creating that plan as to the long-term use of our resources based on what we are able to do and based on what is impacting our organization. If we are doing marketing research, we can also be doing it to improve marketing as a process. So here we're looking at research, not just marketing research, but research that is a more academic purpose. So here we are developing theories. Those theories can be related to marketing. You could also be doing your research to develop theories related to genetics, related to health sciences, environmental sciences, right? So you could be doing it from more of that theoretical perspective to develop theories as to how things work and how people behave or animals behave, how plants behave, right? So we're looking at that theoretical process, understanding the nature of the system and expanding some of that knowledge And so this is where you would be tied to an academic institution. So again, if you're doing your research for a degree, a master's, a doctorate, then you're improving the process of your industry or your discipline itself. So more theoretical in terms of how things work, as opposed to, as we're talking about more about marketing research in terms of the application, we're focused here more on that application in terms of that instead of that theoretical, but all the same processes apply. So in terms of the more applied research, in marketing, we're trying to understand the customers and our relationship to them, why strategies failed, why no one bought the Arch Deluxe or the Osborne laptop. So why weren't we as successful as we thought? And we use it to reduce uncertainty in decision making, forecasting what's going to happen, forecasting demand for our product, forecasting interest rates to determine the cost to our organization, forecasting changes and things that might impact us. So we're reducing uncertainty with our collection and analysis. And again, it doesn't have to be just marketing. We do research, and we're going to dive into a lot of different areas of data analytics and analysis, where we might be collecting information again to improve our operations in terms of quality management, for example, making our organization more efficient or effective. And it doesn't just have to be a product that's for sale. It can be that we provide a service like treating patients, or providing consultation advice to other organizations, in which case, again, we are still there to understand the environment that we're in and to help reduce that uncertainty in our decision making. So when it comes to applied research, it can be more programmatic, selective, or evaluative if we're looking at more applied research. So let's just define what that means. So programmatic is research conducted to develop options. Let's see if I can get this right here. So we're doing research to develop options. And this can happen through, if we're looking at it from the marketing research perspective, through market segmentation, so identifying new groups of potential customers. We can develop options through market segmentation. We can look at consumer attitudes. We can look at product usage. So we're developing options for promoting our product or for changing who that target group is that we're trying to provide our goods or services for. So maybe it's a new group that we're providing it to. Maybe it's the same product to different people. Maybe it's a slightly different product to that group we've had before. And so we're looking at kind of that untapped market. So for example, there was a survey of visitors in Banff in 2003. Why did they come? Well, they said they came for peace and quiet. They really didn't care so much whether or not they had the comforts of home. Well, that impacts then the businesses in Banff. If we know that 40% of visitors to Banff are Canadian and they just go to get away, then when we're providing services in Banff, we don't have to provide all of the luxuries that you would have at home. Only 22% of the hotel visitors were Canadian. So a lot of the visitors to Banff weren't actually interested in staying in a hotel. This creates this untapped market of the Canadian who wants to get away for peace and quiet, and they don't think of themselves as staying at a hotel. So is this a group where we could provide special features to them? So what happened after this is that the Hotel Motel Association of Banff Lake Louise, they created an advertising campaign, more advertisements about weekend getaways, discounts, if you were local. And so we can focus on advertising and getting more of those people who aren't traveling that far to stay at the hotels. And then what the other aspect of this data was that then when the city is looking at whether or not they need to actually expand the number of hotels in the park, well, if 40% of the visitors are Canadian, they're not staying in the hotels, well, we probably don't really need to be expanding the amount of hotels that are being offered, that this group has other needs, and that's where it should be focused. And so there's not a huge need to expand the number of hotels available. So that's more programmatic applied research. So we're developing options for our organization, either other products to offer to our customers, other customers we could go after. So we're looking for that kind of next thing that we can do. We can use marketing research for more selective. And so selective is where we are going to test decision alternatives. And so you might hear the term like A/B testing or test markets. And so the idea here is that we are going to take a smaller group and see if they like our product. We might have some people experience the old version of our website and some experience the new version of our website and collect information to see if the new version is in fact better. So we are testing the different alternatives to see which one is better. Okay, and then our third is more evaluative, and so here we are collecting information to assess our performance. So you think about the surveys that businesses might offer, fill out the survey and you can, win free groceries. This is to assess how well we're actually doing at customer service. So here we are applying our knowledge of statistics and data analysis, and in this case we can be using it for programmatic purposes, selective purposes, or evaluative purposes. So programmatic, help you figure out what it is you should do. What are your options? Selective, help you narrow down from those different alternatives. And evaluative, see if that was the right decision that you made by assessing it after the fact. And often that's in the form of customer satisfaction surveys.